It's really hard for me to stand in front of this microphone like this because I'm a teacher. I teach at Rutgers University, and I'm a wanderer. I was the kid that you hated to sit behind in school, and so I might, kind of move around a little bit. I want to be down there with you. But that was right. And maybe 2009 or so, I started my own business, and I was in the same position that a lot of you are in today. And I'm a marketing guy. I spent my whole career in marketing, and yet when I started doing my business plan, that marketing section stayed blank longer than anything. So I started going to networking meetings. And I don't know, is there still a network here called TNT?
Yeah.
And that's TNT, all right. So I started going to these networking meetings. I'm telling you the story, it was the last networking meeting I ever went to in my life. And here's why. So one thing I didn't know is that in the TNT meeting, everybody stands up and they say something great about what's going on in their business. And every time they tell this story, when someone says something great about their business, and everybody yells, boom, like TNT. I didn't know they were going to do this. And, I was enjoying my cold chicken plate, and then this guy gets up, tells a story, and everybody yells, boom. I said, my nerves just can't handle this anymore. There's got to be a better way. And thank goodness for the internet. Thank goodness for social media. Because what I discovered, once I started to immerse myself in the world of social media, something magical happened. Instead of me finding my ideal audience here in East Tennessee, my ideal audience found me. And it's all around the world. So now I consult, I've come a long way since 2009, Doug. I've been working with all these different companies, and I speak all over the world. I just got back from Russia and Poland, and where else was I? Croatia. So what I learned, Doug talked about this process. So for 7 years, I've been teaching about this process. And what I'm starting to learn is I'm not sure I'm right anymore. And I want to tell you what's changing and what this means for you. So the cool thing about social media is that what we all try to do, every marketer, every business here, we all try to do the same thing. We try to create some form of interaction with our customers that lead to greater and greater engagement with us over time. Step one is awareness, which is awesome because on social media today, it's not like taking out ads. You can actually find people who need you. If you do a good job, if you create content and engage with people, eventually they're going to say, who is this person? Who is this business? I keep hearing about them. They're doing all these cool things. And they go, click. And then it starts to become two-way. And maybe they'll follow you, maybe they'll like you, maybe they'll subscribe to your blog or your video or whatever kind of content you're creating. And that is amazing because if you can get them to do that, they're saying, it's okay to market to me. You're special to me. Isn't that amazing? We never had that in the advertising days. It's an amazing time of life that we live in. So that's kind of step two. And step three, after they start to know you, and they engage with you, and they start to trust you, that leads to loyalty. And that's what I've been teaching for 7 years. Now, I've been working on some new projects, and I've been reading about what's going on with businesses today, what's going on with consumers today, and I keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again. Customers aren't loyal. They're not loyal like they used to be. Now, a lot of this has to do with all this social media stuff that helped me become, where I am today. Because today, think about 10 or 15 years ago, we needed brands. because we trusted these brands and we trusted these companies because we knew what we were going to get was going to be consistent and high quality. Today, everybody assumes it's going to be high quality. They get on their smartphones and they do a search, and they're going to find the lowest price and free delivery and maybe not even know where it's coming from. The internet and social media has dramatically changed consumer behavior. So now I'm struggling. Where do we go from here? If people aren't going to be loyal, what do we shoot for? What's more extreme than loyal? What's beyond loyalty? Maybe we're entering an era where we need to shoot for love. It's not a word we talk about too much in business. If you look at what's going on in the world, and you look at what's going on with a lot of successful companies today, I keep thinking about love. So, how do we fall in love? You can't fall in love with a website, or a logo, or a jingle, or a slogan, or a press release. You can only fall in love with a person. So, as a company, we have two choices. Number one, you can become a person, like Coca-Cola, or McDonald's, or Nike. These companies have spent millions and millions of dollars over decades to become personalities in our mind that we can love. So when I say Coca-Cola, the first thing that comes to your mind is not, that is colored sugar water that's going to make you sick. What do you think of? Picnics. And polar bears and Santa Claus. That's what we want our colored sugar water to be. Whoa. Now, well, that was funny that I just hurt myself. I'll do it. So here's option number two. If you, like me, don't have millions of dollars and decades to spend it, they have to love a person. They have to love us. So let me give you an example of something that happened to me. As I mentioned, I teach at Rutgers University, and I've flown up there about once a month for the last 7 years. And when I travel, I don't really care what hotel I stay in. If it's a Marriott, or a Hilton, or a Hyatt, believe me, all these hotel rooms look the same. All I want is a hotel room close to where I'm giving my talk, right? Maybe free breakfast, that would be okay. Well, there's one hotel I stay at every time. And it's not because of a brand, or because of a logo, or even because of a polar bear. It's because of Terry. So I've been coming to this hotel so much that there's a lady at the front desk. And when I come through the front door, she says, "Hello, Mr. Schaefer." And in December, I was taking my last business trip of the year. I had to go through the Newark Airport, the biggest bus station in America. When I got to the airport, I had flown on a flight with a teenager sitting next to me who was really, really sick. Sneezing all over me, coughing all over me. It was in the middle of a blizzard. I don't even know how I'm going to get home after I teach my classes. I was exhausted. I was freezing. I was tired. And when I walked through that door, Terry said, "He is a mess." She said, "You need something a little special tonight." When I got back to my room, I had a cheese plate and some fruit and some wine, and that's all I had to eat that night. And when I left the next morning, Terry came out from behind the desk and she hugged me goodbye. I was hugged by a brand. Now, I don't love Hyatt, but I love Terry. And I'm going to keep staying in the hotel because we're Facebook friends now. And I know Terry's daughter just graduated from college. And I know her mother just died. And I sent her a card. And I know she was just on vacation in Costa Rica, and she knows about me, and she cares about me, and she's my friend, and I love Terry. And what it makes me think about is how we have always done business for centuries. For centuries. People did business from the people that they knew, and they liked, and they trusted. We knew each other's families, right? Just like I know Terry now. And we forgot it. We forgot about this because advertising works so well. Here's the problem. Advertising is going away. Here's my consumption of advertising over the last 5 years, okay? I watch more TV than I've ever watched in my life. But it's on Netflix. Breaking Bad, House of Cards. I never see ads. Local TV stations are dying. They're struggling. Radio. I subscribe to Sirius XM. When I'm in the car, I never hear ads. I subscribe to 4 newspapers. I never see ads. 1/3 of all Americans have ad blockers on their smartphones. Even if you've got digital ads, they're not seeing ads. So we have to start thinking about how do we connect with our customers. We are moving inexorably toward an ad-free world. And the more I think about this, we have to begin thinking about how do we connect our people in our companies to our customers, to the people who need us, who want us, who are struggling, who are suffering, who need us in some way. Ooh, that was interesting. There's a cricket in the room. So I've been thinking about this, about how do we connect our people with the people who need us. And I had this really interesting experience. Like 3 years ago, I was bidding on the biggest contract I ever had the opportunity to get in my life. It was with the U.S. Air Force. It was a little intimidating because of this process. I know we've got some ex-military people here in the room. I met them earlier. And you know, working for the government is a very rewarding thing, but also very bureaucratic and very difficult. So as part of this process, I had to be interviewed. So these people at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base were on Skype. They were sitting behind this table, and I was on the other end of my computer. And I started telling them what I did and why I was qualified to have this job. And about 2 minutes through my explanation, the purchasing director of the Air Force said, "Oh, Mr. Schaefer, we know who you are. We all read your blog." And at that moment, I knew I had the contract. Because I was known. Over the years, the Air Force, these people at the Air Force had created an emotional connection to me through my content. And they hadn't done that with my competitors. And I knew, game over. I got the job. So I began to think about this idea of how do we connect people? How do we elevate people? How do we all become known like that? Can anybody do it? Can anybody become known? And I became obsessed with this idea. Not in a good way. In a very unhealthy way. I would lock myself in rooms and study and read, and I did all this research. And what I discovered was the research was terrible. It said things like, if you can dream it, you can be it. If you can believe it, you can see it. Oh, there's advice like, look in the mirror and look in the mirror and tell yourself, what would I want to do today more than anything else in the world? Now go do that. Make that list your life's work. Forget about your family and your friends and money and all that. Just go pursue this. And I got up in the morning and I looked in the mirror and I said, what would you like to do more than anything? It would be go on a hike. But if I could, so I've written 6 books, if I wrote a book about hiking, you see, I kind of like doing hiking my way. I'm not in very good shape. So I only hike flat trails. And I'm kind of a wimp. I don't like hiking when it's too hot or it's too cold. So the title of my book would be The Middle-Aged Dude's Guide to Hiking Mostly Flat Trails in Mild Weather. That just wouldn't suck. I would not be, and Doug wouldn't have invited me. He would not have, would you? No, he wouldn't have invited me. But I would be following my dream. But here's what I found. It's great to have a dream. It's great to have a passion. But a dream without a plan is a hobby. And if you're going to spend 2 or 3 years of your life following a dream, have a plan. Have a plan. Don't just open a photo studio because you love photography. Have a plan. Go to Propel, right? So, I became obsessed with this idea. Can anybody become known? Is there a process? There was nothing in the research. So I started talking to people. I asked my friends, I said, who's the best known person in banking, in education, in fitness, in music, in art, in finance, in law? And I found these people all over the world. And here's what I found. Every single person, in every single career, in every place in the world, did the same 4 things. Without exception. And I wrote a book about that. And that's the book you have tonight. Because there is a way to be known. It's not necessarily easy. It's definitely not. I wanted to write a book, how to become known in 100 days or less. How to have a powerful personal brand in 30 days. But I'm also an honest guy, and I couldn't do it because it wasn't there. Because it takes time, it takes work. It's not necessarily easy to do. So, the first step, there's 4 steps. We'll talk a little bit about each one, but you're going to learn all about it because you're going to read the book. And actually, if you're interested, there's a workbook that goes with it you can get on Amazon, but that was beyond our budget tonight. And you'll read it, and you'll love it, and you'll go on Amazon, and you'll give this a 5-star review. And you'll say, oh, everybody should buy this book, because he's my friend from Knoxville. And I saw him at the scruffy City Hall, and I've never been the same. So, the first thing is to think about, what do you want to be known for? Now, the reason people love you may not necessarily be what you're selling. What they're buying may not necessarily be what you're selling. You got to be, careful. I was working with this regional telecom, and they hired me to do their marketing consulting and help them with their strategy. These guys were geeky. Oh, they loved the gadgets and the tech. And they were talking about this with their customers all the time. And I went out to their customers, I said, why do you love them? They said, we love them because we don't have to know the geeky and the tech. They just keep us up and running. They are our voice of authority. They were buying comfort. They were selling geekiness. So we changed the marketing strategy. So you have to be sure what you want to be known for is aligned with what your customers really need. You have to think about, what's your story? Where do you want to go? Do you want to write a book someday? Do you want to be a speaker someday? Do you want to be on a national board? You have to be known. Think about yourself 2 years from now. If you're up giving a talk, what's that talk going to be about? What's in your heart? What do you want to share? That's what you want to be known for. You need to get clear about that. Once you have your story, step 2 is figuring out, where am I going to tell it? And this involves a little bit of research because it's a very, very noisy world today. So we have to think about, where are our competitors and what are they doing? And how am I going to sneak in there and tell my story in a way that they won't even know what's happening? So the third step is content. Content is the fuel of branding today. People avoid ads. They hate ads, they go away from ads, but if you help them make money, save money, have a better life, a happier life, a healthier life, a more entertaining life, they will run to you if you help them. So through our content, we have to change this mindset which I grew up with in Fortune 100 companies, of sell, 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 to help, help, help. Here's the business case for Facebook in one sentence. Come waste time with me. Right? People go on Facebook to see Grumpy Cat and Justin Bieber and pictures of their grandchildren, not your new line of ball bearings. So we have to think about, why would people waste time with me, with us, with our company? What do I need to do to break through to my customers? And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on Twitter? Should I be on LinkedIn? Should I blog? Do I do videos? What do I do? And the truth is, it's not that complicated. People learn by reading, or watching a video, or listening. Pick one. Write about the things you love. Do videos about the things you love. Do a podcast about the things you love. One. Don't do all three. Pick one. Do it well. Master it. Build an audience there. Now, the last step is an audience. Here's one of the biggest myths of social media. I've got, 160,000 people that follow me on Twitter. If I went out on Twitter today and said, hey everybody, buy my book, how many books would I sell? 0. Because it's not an actionable audience. Now, I've been blogging for 9 years. This is an audience. I had a lady tell me recently, she said, I start my day with you. Sounds a little creepy, but she said, I get a cup of coffee, I open up my computer, and I read my blog post. I've become part of the fabric of her life. She will buy anything I do. And that's the type of emotional connection I think we need today. So those are the 4 steps. And in the book, I talk about, here are the 4 steps. And I've also got exercises in there, in every one of these chapters, to help you figure out what is the right path exactly for you. If you go through some of these chapters and go through some of these exercises, it'll become clear what the path is for you. So I want to get back to my earlier question, can anybody become known? I am convinced with every fiber in my body that everybody has the chance. Think about this. When I was a young person in business, if I were to be known in the business world 20 years ago, well, a young person, 25 or more, how would I become known? How would those people in the Air Force have ever heard of me? I'd have to be in the newspaper a lot. I would have to be on TV a lot in Ohio. How would I ever do that? But today, we have this incredible opportunity to use free publishing tools. YouTube is free. Blogging is free. You can create this content for almost nothing but your time and your passion and your energy. It's a historically important opportunity in the life of our world. That you can grab your own power, your own influence. You can be heard. That is your choice. You do not have to wait to be picked. You pick yourself. When I started out, I thought I had things to say. Nobody would hire me as a speaker at their conference. I started my own conference here in Knoxville. We had 600, the last year we had 650 people from 27 states and 5 different countries. The people at the publishing place said, I said, well, I've got this idea for a Twitter book. Oh, well, you don't have a big enough audience for us to hire you. I said, I'll publish my own book. I self-published my own book on Twitter. I didn't have to be picked by someone on Madison Avenue or at a book publisher. As Doug said, it became the best-selling book on Twitter in the world. Then the publishers wanted to talk to me. Today, we have this amazing time. You can pick yourself. You don't have to be put in a place. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what how you grew up or where you grew up. In the first chapter of the book, I talk about when I started this journey, I had nothing. I was at the lowest point in my life. I guarantee you I was lower than where you are right now. And that was the beginning for me. Can anybody do it? The answer is no. Because they'll quit too soon. They'll give up. It won't have the grit. It won't have the tenacity. It won't have the consistency. And many of you might be thinking out there, oh, how do I start? Where would I even begin? Hasn't everything been said that has to be said? And I want you to think about this. 10 years from now, we're going to look back at 2017 and we're going to say, oh, if I could only go back to 2017. The internet was just beginning. The people, the products, the ideas that are going to impact us the most 10 years from now haven't been invented yet. It could be inside of you. But you gotta begin, and you gotta start, and you gotta take that first step. And I believe that everybody has the opportunity to do it. And my hope and my dream and my plea for you is don't waste that chance. Don't waste that opportunity. There has never been a better time to establish a presence on the web than right now. You can become known. Thank you very much.